Hello. Today I will be telling you about Bob Arellano. He was born on September 15th in 1961 in Cuba, New Mexico. His parents are Elias and Udela Arellano, and he has three brothers and two sisters. He attended Cuba High School, and it was here where he met my mom, Riola Freelove, who he would eventually marry in 1982. He played many sports in high school and would go on to compete in the state championships for both football and basketball. His family faced hard times, though, when in 1973 Arab countries united through OPEC agreed to raise the price of oil by 70% a barrel. They were forced to wait in long lines at the gas station and could only get gas on certain days. After high school, in the midst of the Cold War, my dad joined the Navy in 1979. He was deployed onto the USS Marvin Shields, which was a fast frigate-type ship. Their mission was to draw up sonar equipment to hunt for Soviet submarines and scramble their radar so that they would be lost under the water. This was all in an effort to stop the spread of communism to different countries in the world and to ensure that freedom and democracy would be enjoyed by all. While in the Navy, my dad was able to travel the world on his Westpac tour in 1980 and again in 1982. He visited countries like Japan, the Philippines, Hong Kong, Singapore, Kenya, Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, and many more. This gave him the opportunity to be introduced to many new cultures and people, and to also escape his small town. His time in the Navy was not all fun and games, though, when disaster struck on November 4th, 1979. 52 Americans in the U.S. Embassy in Iran were taken hostage and would remain so for 444 days. My dad's ship was then deployed to Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean as part of a strike force in case war broke out between the U.S. and Iran during the Westpac tour. Fortunately, they weren't needed, and in 1981 his ship was again selected, but this time it was to escort the Queen of England from San Diego all the way up to Canada. This helped create friendly relations with the British and also gave my dad the chance to meet both the Queen and Ronald Reagan, who was elected president in 1980. Reagan became the commander-in-chief of the military, and from then on dictated its fate and where my dad would be deployed. He also increased military spending, which gave my dad more money. More good news was to follow when the Berlin Wall was knocked down in 1989. The opening of East Germany greatly eased the tensions between U.S. and Soviet Union and eventually led to the end of the Cold War. America was successful and my dad's mission on the ship was complete. Shortly after, he left the Navy and became an electrician in San Diego. During this time, Reagan introduced many new economic policies. Reaganomics cut taxes and social spending and gave my dad the financial security he needed to buy a house and a new car. His decision in buying a house was influenced by a sense of suburbanization, and my parents settled down in Poway, San Diego. He found work as an electrician for Ohms Electric. From there he worked his way up to a maintenance supervisor for Arco Pipeline and eventually a projects manager for Total Western. His new job in the oil industry was greatly affected by the Exxon Valdez oil spill in 1989. 11 million gallons of oil were dumped and covered 470 miles of coastline. This brought forth many new rules and regulations that were imposed into the oil industry and many of which still stand today. Another disaster hit in the form of the recession of 1991. This economic downturn affected much of the world when the stock collapsed and fell 23% on Black Monday. Taxes were raised to help combat this, and my dad had less disposable income than he had before. Things eventually returned to normal, and in 1996 my parents had a beautiful son who they named Nathan. The new family moved to Orange County in 2000, and my dad found a new hobby in photography and filmmaking. New technological advancements made access to new cameras and computers available to the public, and my dad eagerly participated in taking pictures and filming for many of my sports games and other activities. My dad also enjoys playing sports himself and joined a softball team and is part of a bowling league. When asked about his life, he said, "It's been a heck of a ride."